Greetings, all you Jacks and Jennets, and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you at the end of the regular season, the start of the playoffs. Some fun stuff happened this weekend. Mike Tomlin kept that winning record alive. And I gotta say, guys, before we get into, we'll talk a little bit about the Browns game. I gotta say something. The Steelers only coming up one game of my prediction. I said 10-7 at the start of the year, but I said I would love to change that if TJ Watt got hurt. TJ Watt gets hurt. We go 1-6 without him, but still a winning record. I know no playoffs gotta hurt, guys, but all in all, not the worst case scenario for the Steelers in a quote unquote reloading year, huh?
Heck yeah, Donkey Mutant Gingy in the house. Got to see a couple games at the end of the season. Steelers beating some rivals back-to-back. Ravens, good double-digit win over the Browns. That's what got me going the most. A handy victory where we didn't have to see,
Boswell?
the last-minute shenanigans at the end of the season. You're right, missing playoffs does hurt, but we got to see our guy, our number one guy, Kenny Pickett there, come in really sort of full force after the bye and lead the team to a winning record for the end of the season on. Some positive things to look forward to and some definite things to work on.
For sure. Laskers, Kenny Pickett, I believe, only one turnover after the bye week. How was your thoughts on the closing or the overall take of the Steelers season?
Oh, I mean, I think Kenny looked really good at the end of the season. After he got hurt, I think that was his turning point, and unfortunately he got hurt, But is it also a good thing?
Yeah, that new Space Cadet helmet he wears, that's big as hell with the hugest visor I've ever seen. Apparently he sees the whole field like Superman now, Gingy.
I'll take it.
That's just nuts. The Browns game, let's have some talks about that. The running game was above average. Najee was slightly below the 4-yard mark. Jalen was at like the 6-yard mark or something like that. The passing game was under 50% completion. But again, there were some nice splash plays in there. There were, again, some boneheaded drops. Gingy, what do you call those plays now that we're tracking, that I have to track for Deontay?
They are just like in tennis. They're unforced errors.
There we go. Unforced errors. I believe I saw 3 of them this week on Deontay. Also, we got to give
the league.
We also have to give the biggest unforced error of the game on. I guess there's a 2-part argument to this. Half the people want to say the biggest unforced error was on Mike Tomlin for not challenging the potential Najee touchdown, but that still doesn't make up for Najee's boneheaded fumble at the goal line. What you guys see in that play?
Oh, the one thing I see is, did he fully have the ball, defending Najee because how good he's been on the season? Did he fully have the ball?
He definitely had the ball, but it looked like when he was moving it up to reach over, he lost it. And my personal thought is, you're 220 pounds, bro. You shouldn't be jumping over the pile. You should be finding someone's butt, lowering your damn head, and hitting that butt so damn hard that guy falls 6 yards into the end zone. That's all I'm going to say.
That's not how running really works anymore, Donkey.
I don't know. It worked pretty well for Derek Watt later in the game, which, by the way, good job, Derek. You got yourself a touchdown. I guess that means you're kind of he's almost been worth his $5 million this year, as the offense did innovate him. And let's be honest here, a lot of talk about, and let's get into this fun stuff, a lot of talk about where the Steelers' future is going to go. A lot of players potentially playing their last game. Your guys' thought on starting the offseason early, and who are the key people to bring back? If you like, I have a list of Steelers free agents. I can read them off to you, and you can tell me who you think's important to keep out of that group.
I'm with it.
All right, let's go there. I'm opening up the document now. It takes a minute because my computer isn't very smart, you see. But anyway,
there's definitely a couple guys I got in mind. Definitely a couple guys I got in mind who I think earned the bag this year, Donkey.
I'm going to start with the list of guys who are players who we've known and seen. You have Larry Ogunjobi, Devin Bush, Cameron Sutton, Chris Wormley, Derek Watt, Tyson Alualu, Terrell Edmonds, Robert Spillane, DeMonte Casey, Anthony Miller, wide receiver who's on the injury list, Miles Boykin, Benny Snell Jr., Zach Gentry, all as unrestricted free agents going into the offseason. Who among that list are the guys you think need to be brought back by these Pittsburgh Steelers?
One name that I think Ogunjobi had himself a heck of a season, and we need some help, all the help we can get on that D line. I think in as a counterpart to that, had some good seasons there with the Steelers, but we got to let go of Alu.
Definitely been past best buy date for a couple seasons here. Laskers, any names you're looking for out of that list that you really think need to be brought back to solidify the future of the Steelers, let's call it?
You guys might disagree with this, but Zach Gentry, I think, he's done some good shit for the Steelers.
Stole my dark horse.
he needs to be re-signed. I think he's a good tight end. He's done the things that we've asked him for, and he's done a good job.
100% agree. Cerberus is not the same if you cut off the right head. And I'm just going to say the right head because obviously Fire Noose in the middle. And, little Connor over there stepping up pretty good. So I have to keep my Cerberus together. I love that. But I think you guys missed out on the two most important free agents on this team. And let me tell you why. This game against the Browns, let's be honest, the pass rush wasn't very good. But you know what played actually really well? The coverage unit. And I'm going to tell you, the guy who lets Minka be Minka, much like the guy who let Troy be Troy as Ryan Clark, is Terrell Edmonds. That running mate for our all-pro, first-team all-pro safety is the most important guy to bring back. Terrell Edmonds is my number one priority. My number two priority is without a doubt Cam Sutton. When was the last time the Steelers drafted and developed a cornerback who you can actually say is a top cornerback? We can't go into this offseason needing two. We have to retain Cameron Sutton. I think the two most important signs are Terrell Edmonds, Cameron Sutton. I'd like to bring back KZ and Ogunjobi. I would love Gentry back, and I think you can make a deal work there. My biggest problem is I think Ogunjobi's going to command over $10 million a year, and I just don't think he's worth over $10 million a year with his injury history. But I can't believe you guys left him off. And Genji, I can't believe you didn't give love to Robert Spillane. I'm a little sad.
Donkey, when I alluded before the segment, when I said about the guy who earned the bag, Cameron Sutton is that guy, I think, who earned the bag. Now, Terrell Edmonds, I think that, do you think we can get him at a steal? I don't think we can pay more than $4 million, $5 million for him per year.
I think you give him a 3-year, $18 million deal. $3 million signing bonus, it'd probably end up being like $7 million signing bonus, $4 million base salary for all 3 years. I think he stays there, and then he can in turn talk his brother Tremaine into coming to Pittsburgh. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, that would be the best right there. No, I agree.
Wait a second. When are we getting JJ?
But he's retiring, so mood point. I wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors.
And when do you think we're getting JJ?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think JJ's, he's broke his body enough. He wants to have something for his family. I get it. I wish him nothing but the best. I wouldn't mind seeing him in a Steeler uniform. Don't get me wrong there.
No one would, as a Steelers fan.
But that gets us into part 2 here. Let's talk about.
Wait. Gingy had a comment, and I interrupted Gingy. So
go ahead, Gingy. I was just say we have to bring back Kevin Bush at $3 million a year.
Yeah, we definitely need him cheap. And man, Donkey, we have to figure out something at middle linebacker. Yeah, we got to re-sign Spillane, but I don't think Spillane's the starter guy. We're gonna have to look in free agency, in my opinion.
I have a weird feeling Spillane put himself into that $6 to $8 million a year range, and I'm sorry. I like you, Spillane, but you're a backup linebacker at best who's in on running downs. I can't pay him $6 to $8 million a year when I need to go out there and I need to solidify the offensive line. I need to solidify the cornerback position. I need to solidify that defensive line. I just can't see paying a middle linebacker who doesn't have a singular above average skill $6 million a year. That's why I said, if you can get him or Bush back at $3 million, that's what I would do. But let's get to the fun part. We'll start with Laskers here. How about players on the current roster that maybe you're looking to move on from due to their cap implications. And we'll just put this out here as a base. No one needs to mention William Jackson III and his $12 million, because if we keep him at $12 million, we're the dumbest people in the history of dumb. But go ahead, Laskers, from there.
I think we need to get rid of Mitch, and you know, this is going to please Donkey, but I actually agree with the statement. Is we actually should re-sign Mason with the money that we gain from cutting Mitch.
We have done Mason so wrong. I don't think there's any way he resigns. Personally, I'm looking for a guy who's cool with being a backup, who's a smart guy and really helps quarterbacks going forward. I don't know who that would be. The name on the top of my head's Laskers would be Josh Dobbs, because I remember Ben talking about how helpful Josh Dobbs was in the film room.
No, I don't disagree, but here's the thing. Who's Mason going to sign with as a number one?
I don't think he signs anywhere with number one. I think this is more of just Mason Rudolph.
So he's just gonna be done
with Pittsburgh. I think someone gives him a chance to be a backup.
Yeah, if you don't sign as number one, you're done.
I guess you could say that, but Geno Smith says, Laskers, I don't agree.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that statement, because Geno's fucking turned it on, and Geno's looking good. He's looking good.
He is in the playoffs. Thank Gingy. Before we go any farther to talk about your offseason take on who we need to cut, thank you, Detroit, for not putting it in and just, giving up the game when you had nothing to play for. Thank you for beating Aaron Rodgers and giving Seattle that well-earned playoff spot. Gingy, players on this roster you're looking to move on from for either play reasons and or cap implications.
I'm not necessarily ready to make all those picks yet, but Donkey, there's some questions. It's going to be a tough take for a Yinzer of myself and my standing, Donkey. But I have questions about Chris Paul as well.
Fair.
And given the performance this year, I think you said it in a podcast earlier this year, Donkey. I kind of like the take on it. Everybody gets one. Right? You're a kicker, you go through a bad year. Okay, you could still be a guy, right? We're on round 2 for that now. Now, I know he was a little bit banged up this year. I don't know how that affected his performance overall, but it wasn't the quality caliber of a franchise kicker.
The second or third highest paid kicker in the league. Yeah, a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah. Boswell's either 90% makes or 70% makes.
And number 2, this is not a cap hit problem because he's still a new guy, Donkey, but in terms of guys who I think we might need to start looking to move on from, Presley Harvin had his shot.
Please say Presley.
God damn it,
Kendrick Green's who I wanted you to say so bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, but I think
he definitely was going Presley Harvin.
Yes, everyone knows my love of the fat punter, but I agree.
Mine too. I think that we can do better.
Gingy, that brings to me a fun point. Well, actually, no. I got to cover my cap thing first before I get into my least favorite Steeler moment. But remember what Gingy said there. As I have to save these guys. William Jackson III, we already said, has to be $12 million. Miles Jack, you save $8 million by cutting him. Come on now. Miles Jack didn't play good enough to earn $12 million in a year. No. Got to move on from him. Got to move on from Trubisky and save that money because he ain't worth no $10 million sitting on the bench being a little sourpuss baby because I didn't get my full year starting that Mike Tomlin promised me because I suck. Yeah, you suck. Sit on the bench, Mitch. And then we got some questionable ones. Akilla Witherspoon, I personally think you keep him because you only save $4 million by cutting him. And at the end of the day, it's not like we have a great valuable option to replace him right now. So I don't get rid of him, and I roll hoping maybe he can get healthy and show the flash that he's shown in relative short stints with Pittsburgh and San Francisco once, but then terribleness in longer stints. But hopefully some short stint flashes. There's other guys, some people have mentioned, as Lasker said to me, we were talking earlier, Cam Hayward's been mentioned by people, but you can't get rid of the vocal leader of the team, so I don't see that even if it helps cap situation or anything like that. I've also heard people saying Chuck's a core for, but you can't move on from a starting right tackle with nothing in place, and honestly, $10 million isn't too vast of an overpay for a right tackle. Those are just some of the names that I saw out there being mentioned as guys who are potential cuts. for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, let's get into some fun stuff. End of the season for the Steelers, not fun. We talked about the Browns game a little bit. Haha, take that, Deshaun Watson. You might be slippery, but we still sacked you 7 times and you threw 2 turnovers.
True. Nice.
Enjoyed the heck out of that. Again, another day where you could argue that Kenny Pickett looked like the better quarterback on the field, and I like seeing that, man. Watching these high-paid quarterbacks underperform their contracts is making me quite happy, because if they all keep doing it, by the time Kenny Pickett becomes a free agent, quarterbacks aren't going to be just guaranteed $60 million for nothing. So I kind of like that, because maybe the Steelers end up in the perfect window to make it the perfect time. But let's start off on the sad side here. Steelers season over. So let's start with, what was your most frustrating, most disappointing moment of the Steelers season? Laskers, you got one for me?
Oh, I definitely do. Anything that Boswell kicked that was a miss when I predicted him to be our X factor for the season, that's disappointing to me.
Lasker spent every other game in disappointment. I am sorry for you there.
I did.
To be fair, we lost every other game, so you know what? I guess we all could join you there. Chingy, how you feeling on the sad side?
A couple different things. A lot of things left open in the beginning of the season. A couple different specifics that I'm going to reference. Deontay Johnson catching a ball, getting a first down, and then running behind the sticks and losing the first down voluntarily. Makes me. I think that was was that Raiders game?
I don't remember. No, because it was a game we ended up losing, I think.
You know what the play I'm talking about, though, probably,
yes.
right?
Yes, where he's 3 yards past the sticks.
He runs
6 yards backwards.
It's the third one. Oh, good, DJ. Good job.
Why run backwards?
I'm gonna cite some of the sadder moments as the Jets loss, Patriots loss, and the Trubisky phoning it in versus the Ravens. Probably my sad moments.
Wait a minute.
I got one thing to bring up to you guys real quick. Did any of you guys see the Yahoo story about the 3 biggest losses? So, according to Yahoo, we lost to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up again, their great writing style also says we should trade for Derek Carr, and we're the second most likely destination for Derek Carr. There are a bunch of idiots who write there. They should just hire us, because we can put out as good of articles as they do.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that was funny when you don't even get the story right. So it was basically the biggest 3 losses through week 8, and they say we lost to the Buccaneers.
That's nice. You know what, Gingy? I completely forgot about the New England game, and I now have another player that needs to be added to the must-get-cut list. And I told Laskers earlier I wouldn't cut him, but Gunnar Olszewski needs to be cut, because I completely forgot that he fumbled away that football game until you said that.
He fumbled the bag, and that was a sad loss. That could have changed everything. Yeah, I know we were, Laskers. I know we were. We saw it.
That was a big one. That was a big one.
It really was.
Right, so
it blew that game wide
Gingy
open.
Brought up moving on from guys, and I talked about my draft crush. And you know what my most disappointing part of the season is? That Mike Tomlin is the type of guy who, if in the offseason he tells you something's going to happen, come rain, water, hurricanes, it doesn't matter if you're the worst looking of the bunch. If he told someone in the offseason they're going to come here and play, guess what? That's what's going to happen. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I think this season goes differently if Mike Tomlin bands up and admits, you know what, Mitch Trubisky was the worst looking quarterback in camp in preseason. Maybe he shouldn't be our QB1. But nah, that didn't happen. And then I started thinking back to other times where he made this promise. Oh, why wasn't Melvin Ingram ever allowed to start? Because he was told he's coming here to be a backup because Alex Highsmith was given the job. And don't get me wrong, this year, Highsmith played out of his mind. Last year, Ingram was the better player over Highsmith.
Yep.
Not going to change my mind on that. I am sick and tired of every year for all the good that Coach Tomlin does. And let's be honest here, this team having a winning record this year, fantastic. What a job of coaching. What a job of turnaround. I know the weaker teams were at the end of the year, but at the end of the day, I don't care how the wins and losses were distributed. They won 9, lost 8. With the schedule they had, with the team they had, I call that a pretty good season. I know people will be mad because draft capital, though. Yeah, whatever. We suck at first-round picks, nailing them anyway. We're better off drafting like 22 and taking T.J. Watt. But to me, it's just that Mike Tomlin is such a man of his word that even when the facts slap him in the face, Gingy, you know what he's going to say?
Yeah, he's going to stay standard is the standard.
Thank you, because that's exactly what I thought. The standard is the standard. My God, Tomlin, you're a great coach, but dude, just because your word is word doesn't mean you can't play the better player. You're allowed to do that. And did anyone catch last week that Myles Garrett wants to be Mike Tomlin? Did anyone else catch that?
Yep.
With the "we want volunteers, not hostages" shit. Oh man, did I chuckle hysterically.
So here's the thing with the standard is the standard. So the standard is just above 500, so my career looks good.
I'm not going to hate Tomlin too much on that. He got put in a bad spot
either.
like any
he actually did.
when you
he looked good. I mean, I'm not going to say he didn't, but the standard is the standard. That's what he wants.
For all the haters, what Mike Tomlin's done in the late half of Ben's career, let's be honest here. How many coaches start a rookie quarterback and have a winning record? Not too many. How many coaches have a franchise or a huge money quarterback on the end of his career?
Hang on a second. He didn't start him as a rookie. That was Power.
No, I'm saying he started Kenny Pickett as a rookie this year last year and had a winning record.
Yeah,
you're right. The Steelers seem to be aptly successful at starting rookie quarterbacks and having.
They are really
good. You
can
even throw Duck Hodges in there, I guess. My God, but my fact is, I think he does a great job coaching. There are definitely things that I have troubles with, and I pointed them out, and I'm not backing down from them. And it's led to me question whether or not Tomlin has that ability to bring this team back to the championship level. A winning level, yes. Championship level, I'm still not sold on, as I've said multiple times this year. But this team did pretty good. Last year's distracted me, so I lost my train of thought, and I don't know where I'm going now.
That's what happens when you have me on the podcast.
But we'll just move on. We'll go ahead. If I
really did distract you.
We're going to move on to the best part of the season, and we're going to start with Gingy.
Best part of the season? Oh,
sure.
Man. That was week 1. I don't want to say because week 1 being the best part of the season, that's kind of trash, right? But that was probably the most exciting game that I've seen in quite a long time. Them pulling out that win versus Cincinnati. Blocked extra point to put us into overtime. Yada. That was fun. That was fun, Donkey.
That was a great one. Laskers.
Week 6. When we beat Tom Brady again. You know,
a good one.
Granted,
a good one.
He's in the playoffs again. That concerns me. Because the last time we did it, he went on to win the playoffs. But, you know, getting to see that first Kenny Pickett win, that is the defining moment of this season for me.
For me, it has to be KP8, just plain and simple. Love the phonies and Pitt. Got to bring Micah to a game. Micah gets to see KP8 get a win. Had to love that. But more importantly, it was 2 specific drives to end the year. Weeks, was it 16 and 17 against Baltimore, against the Vegas Raiders. And you get to see what anyone who watched him at Pitt said makes him that. You watch Kenny Pickett, there's nothing where you're like just, wow. But then there's these situations where this kid just does it. That's what he did in Pitt, and watching him do it in the pros was something that was just absolutely awesome to me. As you guys know, I talked about how much I wanted the Steelers to get him in the draft, but I also told you, man, I'm so scared for the Steelers to get him in the draft because what if it doesn't work out? What if KP8 isn't that guy for the Steelers? How am I going to feel? How are the Steelers going to feel? How'd you ever trust a Pitt player again? But it had to be those 2 drives where Kenny Pickett just showed that little bit of magic that had to be my favorite part of the season because to me, that's the biggest thing going to the future that you can look for as a Steelers fan is what Kenny Pickett did on the field after the bye week to get things done. Now, that essentially wraps up the Steelers thing. Maybe we'll talk more about coordinators and whether or not we should keep them next week to give you a little heads up into things we'll talk about. We'll break down the Steelers a little more statistically because I didn't have time to break down all the stats. But next week, you guys, I'm going to bring up the Steelers more statistically. We're going to look at them. We'll talk about coordinators. We'll talk about what should happen. I mean, what if Brian Flores goes and becomes the defensive coordinator at the Browns? Is that really an issue for us? Those types of fun things. But there is still football going on, and I guess we should still talk about it. So you guys want to go ahead and make some picks for some playoff games? Wait. First, I got to get your Super Bowl picks on record. Laskers, who's going to the bowl? Who's getting the chance at the ship?
Oh, boy. This is going to hurt me. Bongles, Eagles is my pick. Who's going to the Super Bowl? I hope you don't ask me who's going to win it.
Of course you have to pick a champ. Come on now. That's the way it works at the start of the playoffs.
Bongles, it really hurts.
Ooh, okay. Jen G, you had a little more time to prep. You ready?
I'm ready.
Get it.
Niners and Bills.
Niners and Bills. Nice. Anyone who watches the power rankings, you know the power ranking says it's going to be the Bills and the Eagles, so I'll just throw it out there. Personally...
So did anyone notice that I actually picked in the this week for the picks, I picked who had the best winning percentage over the last few weeks. That's why I changed what I was picking.
I am going to pick Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Cincinnati Bengals, 28-27, Brady doing his thing at the end of the game. I liked the Bengals last year. The Bengals with Joe Cool, they're just that team I cannot pick against when they're playing good.
I don't think you can pick against them right now. And actually, I agree 100% with Gingy's pick. I don't think you can pick against the 49ers right now.
This is what I'm going to say, and I say it every time. You can't judge a quarterback until 5 games of tape are on them. They're going to reach that spot in the playoffs, and that's where I'm going to get a little nervous that Brock Purdy has that one game where people figured him out, and he just can't adjust because it's one game, and they just have it sticked out. That's why I don't think the Niners are the team to take. To be fair, I don't think anyone in the NFC is the team to take, honestly. That's why I'm taking Tom Brady, because he's like older than all of them combined. His infinite wisdom has to win a couple games, right?
We shall see.
You're not wrong. We shall see. We shall see. So let's go ahead and make our picks for this weekend, and let's start in the AFC, and let's start with the 4-5 matchup. The Chargers going to the Jaguars. Chargers are going to be without Mike Williams, as for some reason their coach played players in a game that didn't matter, and he hurt his back. So without one of their big wide receivers, but who do you guys like in the Jaguars-Chargers game?
Gingy, go first, because
give me the Jaguars. They're running hot.
That they are. Laskers, you want me to go, or are you ready?
No, I'm ready. I was actually going to go Jags, too. They are looking good. And, they beat the Titans, who, basically fumbled the game away. Not really fumbled it, but they just didn't look good.
I like the Jaguars as well. And for all the people out there who are worried about things, remember Trevor Lawrence's rookie season where he threw 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions? Look what he did in year 2. He cut that number of interceptions in half to like 10-ish, and I believe he doubled his touchdowns up to 25. So, hey, rookie's taking big steps in year 2. You're seeing it this year. Hopefully we get to see it next year. That will lead us to who's the other AFC games that we got going on. We got the number 2 seeded Bills taking on the 7 seeded Dolphins, and thank you, Laskers, for telling me there'll be no Tua. Who'd you guys got in that game?
I
Give
got
me
the
Bills.
Bills by fucking 25.
All right, so we got Bills, and Bills here. I'm not going to do anything crazy. No need to go into that. We got the Bengals at the Ravens. The Bengals lost offensive lineman Kappa, I believe, is going to miss the game. T. Higgins, I believe, is still questionable. But the biggest injury has to be Lamar Jackson, still not healthy, out for the Ravens. Who you guys like in this game where Baltimore goes to Cincy again? So I think it happened last week, too, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Give me the
I'll let you go
Bengals.
first.
Give me the Bengals.
I got the Bengals too, and because of they're still upset about the coin toss possibilities if they tied last week, and they're just gonna destroy the Ravens.
Chef kiss for Joe Mixon for challenging Roger Goodell for a coin toss to see who pays his fine. I liked that. I have to take the Bengals here in this game. Let's go over to the NFC. Let's start with the most intriguing game. 4-seed losing record Buccaneers get to host the 5-seed big time winning record Cowboys. Who do you guys like in this game?
I want to go last.
Okay, I'll go first because it's my Super Bowl pick. So Buccaneers, Gingy.
Trap, Cowboys.
I don't trust Mike McCarthy or Dak Prescott in the
No, I don't trust the Cowboys either, but golly. Trap.
I'm gonna agree with Donkey on this. Buccaneers by 15.
Thank goodness we all finally didn't agree on a game. That's fun. Let's go into a 3-6 matchup. Your Minnesota Vikings versus your well-rested New York Football Giants. What we looking at, Gingy?
Give me the Vikings on this one.
Laskers!
Give me the Giants on this one.
Damn it, Lasker stole my pick. I like the Giants too. That was my upset pick. Laskers just steals it from me. Let's go into a fun game here. San Francisco, Brock Purdy, looking good, taking on Seattle. Geno Smith snuck their way in, but who cares? They're there. Who'd you guys like in this game?
Niners.
I'm going to agree with Gingy on this one. Brock Purdy
Niners
all the way.
red hot. Niners are
Gingy
red
likes
hot.
to say trap. Guess what? It's a trap. This is Seattle all the way. No doubt about it. Geno Smith, I believe he ended the year as the most accurate quarterback this season. You gotta love that stuff, don't you? I do. I like it. I like your Seattle Seahawks here. I believe that is every game, right? That's every playoff game. I didn't miss any.
Yes, it was.
And also, don't forget, Gingy, do you know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in the same season?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, San Francisco won the first 2 matchups, so I gotta think Seattle has to pull one out eventually.
It's not out of the question. Anything can happen.
So Donkey. No, that actually doesn't make sense. No, so I'm not actually going to report that because it's not right. It said Tom Brady is the most accurate as of June 21, 22. That's not right.
June 21st of last year. All right.
No, that wasn't right. That's
all
why
right,
I'm not reporting it.
Let's get into it. Anything you guys want to say fresh off your mind from the season end? Any hot takes, any fun takes, any, man, how did that happen? Things before we get to shout-outs? Gingy, Laskers.
I'm pretty pleased with it. Donkey. I'm pleased with where we're at, and I'm excited. Looking forward to draft time already.
No, I really don't have anything, but Geno has the highest completion rating at 70.2%.
Damn, that's a good year. Alrighty, so I guess that means final regular season shout out. Steelers had a win. That means Gingy has one, so we'll start over there.
Absolutely. A couple different shout outs, obviously, at the end of the regular season here. Got to give a shout out overall to number 1 overall rated free safety, all pro, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Congratulations, boy. That's a good honor. Voted on by the players as best in that position. Number 2, we're looking at shouting out Mike Tomlin, maintaining a winning record, 9-8, despite all at 2-6. Man, there was a lot of naysaying going on. A lot of naysaying. It was over, baby, and he pulled it out.
Would you say the Yinzers had one too many Iron Cities at that point?
Well, just enough Iron Cities to keep everybody on their toes, Donkey. I think that inspiration and that bitterness is what pulled out the wins this season. That's the Yinzer way.
Fair.
And lastly,
oh, no,
I got one more. I got the trifecta of shout outs. Lastly, we're gonna shout out the boys, Donkey and Laskers, hanging in there, doing the regular season of the Steelers. Another successful regular season, boys. Shout out.
Heck yeah, Laskers.
I agree with what Gingy just said. Thank you guys for doing another good job this season. But my biggest thing...
Y'all need to stop with that because you're staying with me through the Super Bowl. We can shout out each other after
We're just
the Super
talking
Bowl.
Regular season, right? We're just doing
Stop
our little award ceremony here.
Too
it's
much
like
bro
the NFL
love for
does.
Donkey right now. There still needs to be combative stuff going on the next few weeks. There is no time for bro love yet, Gingy and Laskers. That must wait another month. But continue.
No. My biggest thing is shout out to J.J. Watt on an amazing career. I really hope that this is not the end of his career. But, if it is, shout out to 114 and a half sacks in your career. Man, that's amazing. And you are one of the best defensive players ever.
I guess that comes to me. My end of the year shout out every time the Steelers get eliminated is to every player who put on the Steelers uniform this year, every coach who gave their time to the Steelers, every trainer, every personnel in the Steelers organization, because those guys give so much time. Those guys, as we've seen this year, more so than ever before, those guys put their lives on the line for our entertainment, to give us something to talk about, to give us something to root for, to give us something to just put an absurd amount of obsession into. It's why we are fanatics and not just Steelers fans. We full bore live the fanatic. You feel the wins, you feel the losses. These guys put all their body out there for yours, for mine, for everyone's entertainment, for our viewing pleasure, so to say. So my shout out at the end of every season has to go to all the people who make it possible. Except for you, Roger Goodell, you suck. I'm going to let you know. I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your Daily Dose of Donkey is the YouTube channel where we give you all this fun content. Keep coming back. This offseason, I'm going to dive even harder into the statistics than I have before. I'm going to be comparing the Steelers teams to prior Steelers teams, to future Steelers teams. We're going to be breaking down the playoffs like you see nowhere else. By that, you're going to hear some crazy picks and little one-liners if we actually know something going on in the game. Because, hey, we're trying our best, but we are only human. And with that, I got to let you know, it's Lasker's turn.
I am the Lashers everywhere, and my thing is, let's go Bills, even though I didn't predict you to win. Let's go Bills. As close as I am to you guys, I'm going to give you guys a shout out and make sure that you get the support that you need. And over to Gingy.
It's Mutant Gingy in the house. We hanging out. We playing games. We talking football with the boys. Folks, if you got them, put them in a nice place. Hang them up on the shelf for just a little bit here for a few months. Maybe in April, break them out for a draft time or two. But you know what? Stay locked in. Stay tuned in for all the football coverage here, folks, because it's going to be a wild playoffs. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.